Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Round Rock ISD Parent Program's online Family Connection series. This session is being recorded so that you can use this later on as a resource. It will be found on our parent program's website, and of course, we will send you the link after all is said and done. This evening, we are talking all about reading aloud with your child. My name is Ann Grisham. I'm your moderator for the evening, and I am joined by two others from our parent team, Jyoti Apaya.
Good evening, Round Rock ISD families. Thank you so much for joining us.
And Kimberly Peterson.
Hello, welcome.
And while you're only seeing three of us, as you know from the chat before we got started, there's an entire parent team, and we exist to connect the home and school. We work together for your student success, and we're very, very proud to do that. So for the next 30 minutes, we are going to share, we're going to visit, we're going to collaborate. But first, a little bit of housekeeping. This session is meant for you, which means your participation is absolutely vital for our success. We ask that you listen with an open mind. We're going to be using the chat feature tonight to participate because we all know what households in the evening are like. They're busy and they're loud, and so we want everybody to be able to hear one another speak. So because of that, we're going to use the chat feature. And of course, we'd like for you to keep the chat to the topic on that we're discussing if you possibly can. And speaking of chatting, it is very easy to interact with us. All you have to do to chat is there's a little square box in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. Click on that and type away. It's that simple. So please communicate, share, collaborate with us. And if you would like to turn on the closed captioning for any different language, here's how to do it. Along the bottom of your screen, you will see Turn on Captions. You click on that, and then a drop-down menu will fall down from the upper right-hand corner, and you can toggle through. There are any number of languages in there, and you can follow along in your home language if that makes you comfortable. So this evening, there are two things we want you to leave with. Number one, understanding why it's so important to read aloud with your child. And of course, our second goal is to impart you with one or two or three or more tips that you can use at home to make those things happen. Kimberly, are we having any questions or issues or concerns or comments in the chat box so far?
We are not so far, thank goodness. Let me just say real quick that I am going to be your chat person / moderator, and I am going to be following the chat as best I can. If I'm not, I'm hoping the chat's so busy that I'm not able to get to all your questions or your comments. So I just want to tell you from the beginning that at the end of the session, we are going to print out the sessions, all the questions that were asked. We're going to answer them, and we're going to email you those answers. At the end, we're going to have just a really short survey. And if you leave us your email address, we will make sure everybody gets a copy of tonight's session. So let me just say that first and foremost. Again, don't worry if I'm not able to get to your question. You will for sure be getting it in your inbox in the next few days. So again, thank you and welcome.
Yes, thanks, Kimberly. And as we begin, I would like for everyone to think about all the ways we already encourage literacy in our homes. Jyoti, can you start us off?
I sure can, Anne. So what's so great about reading aloud is that it's happening all the time with your kids in so many different ways. So you don't really need to think about having to have a set time to sit down and read. You can always break your reading down into daily activities. So for me and my family, we try to include reading aloud into whatever activities we're doing at that time. And most of the time, we're not even sat down, to be fair. But families, please don't put pressure on yourselves, because we will explore a few different strategies in a few minutes, things that you guys are already doing day in, day out.
Thanks, Jyoti. Let's consider the words we see in our daily lives. Imagine how many words the average adult sees on a daily basis. Well, the answer is 63,000. That is a lot of words that you are seeing every day. And the greatest thing about that is that your kindergartner and your pre-K are right alongside you for most of that. So they too are also seeing so many words every day. Now I'd like your input. Please type your answer directly into the chat. Of course, no wrong answers, never, no wrong answers here. The question is, how many minutes of reading aloud every day do you think makes a difference with school success? Type the number in there and tell us why you think that number is. And while we wait for some input, Joe T, tell us what you think.
So, Anne, I have 3 kids myself. I've got twin boys who are in 1st grade, so they've just finished kinder last year, and a 4th grader. So my house is super busy all the time. And as a parent, I was never really sure how many minutes of reading with my child or children is required or is ideal or is even necessary or would even make a difference, right? So sometimes what we hear is that we need to read a certain amount of minutes a day, every day. And that can be so overwhelming as a parent, especially when you're working and you've got a whole house full of children and pets and a lot of chaos, really. So when you have a busy and noisy house like mine, which is 24/7, guys, trying to find time to read can be really, really hard. And we're going to give you some strategies in a minute.
We are, but first, Kimberly, what are the parents saying? What are the numbers out there?
Oh, I love the responses. Thank you so much for making this interactive. We want to hear from you. So let's see, 20 to 30 minutes, 25. I see this in their folders. 30 minutes because it's a constant practice. 20 to 30 minutes because that's what the teachers have said. 20 minutes, schools ask for this. 60 minutes, 30 minutes or more, exposure and experience building. 20 to 30 because it gives the students a chance to get a wide range of vocabulary and put syntax and morphology together. Oh, Tyler, you're using really big words. 20, I think I've seen this on library posters. 20 is what I hear from teachers, 15 minutes a day. It goes on and on. And why don't we get to the data and tell them the great news?
Yeah, I'm hearing a lot of between 20 and 60 minutes. Well, everybody's got that. So surprised to learn this number. It takes just 1 minute to make a difference with school success.
Wow. Exactly. Wow. The chat's gone a little bit quiet. I think we're all trying to process this a little bit. You said 1 minute, Anne?
1 minute a day. That's it. Let's look at some statistics. They are from the American Academy of Pediatrics. If starting in kindergarten, you read at home for just 1 minute a day, your child is likely to score 10% better than their peers on standardized tests. Let's bump it up to 5 minutes. We can all find 5 minutes, right? In a day, everybody can, right? Reading aloud for just 5 minutes a day with your child starting in kinder helps them score better than 50% of their peers on standardized tests. Imagine if we could pull a magical 20 minutes out of our hats. Well, we can. 20 minutes makes the biggest difference, folks. If you can dedicate 20 minutes a day to reading aloud with your child starting in kindergarten, you're looking at your son or daughter scoring better than 90% of their peers on standardized tests.
Wow. So when I think about my exercise routine, I used to have people say to me, come on, Jyoti, you need to get 30 minutes in, be a healthy adult, etc. And I'm like, I have 3 children at home. I work full time. Are you kidding me? Like, I cannot fit in 5 minutes. You know, so the key is if I could just break down the chunk of 30 minutes into shorter amount of time. So either start off on a 5-minute walk in the backyard or 2 minutes just going up and down the stairs. That's the key, to break it down into smaller chunks so it can be more manageable. And then after a few weeks, I realized actually I was getting in probably about 30 to 40 minutes in a day. And that makes a huge difference. You know, so I think the same concept applies to reading. So if you do not have the full 30 minutes or 20 minutes in a day, break it down and let it be a gradual process. So start off a couple of minutes, fit it in here and there, first thing in the morning or whatever, and add the minutes as you go along. Don't put too much pressure on yourself because you can do this. You're already doing it.
What a wonderful way to look at that. I love that. And I love comparing it to the exercise because I think we're all kind of attached to our Fitbits and we're counting steps. And it really is a lot easier than we would think. So let's talk about that. When can we find those minutes during our day? I would like for you to go ahead and type into the chat box now. Please let us know when in your day are you finding time to do this? What are you seeing, Kimberly?
Let's see. I'm seeing before bedtime. We read during dinner preparation. Oh, that's great. Eating times, right before bedtime. Oh, we like to read in the bath. That's a great one. You can use those bath crayons. We have a whiteboard in the home. but I got a good deal on the whiteboard, and we have a 9 to 12 word exercise for my son to use. So we write words on the board before bedtime. My kids won't even sit either, but we read at dinner, before bed, lots of before beds, before bath time. Lots of comments here.
Awesome.
We had a great question come in, Anne. What if I can't get my child to sit down long enough to read a book?
So I have a great answer to that, Kimberly, and it's just my opinion. So all I'm doing here is making some suggestions. So I have 2 boys, as you know, who are both 6 years old and have copious amounts of energy. They are full of beans, guys, and they don't sit still ever. So one of the things that we've kind of made it a rule in our house is not to put too much pressure just before bedtime either, or especially after school. So it's important to know that reading doesn't need to be done in the evening before bed, because for my family that doesn't always work. So we're all about using whatever time we have, whether it's a breakfast time and you're eating cereal boxes or a juice box, or even if you're watching the news during the day. If you're a family like ours, and I have a husband that's obsessed with the news, guys, it's on all the time. So get the kids to maybe read a couple of words here and there on the bottom, on the caption, and that kind of explores their reading too. And any time of day is even great. I mean, for me, my kids, when they've been at school all day and I've been at work all day, the last thing they want to do is actually come home, or we're at home anyway, but to be sat down and reading more after they've been learning. So I try to mix it up a little bit. So I will have one of my kids read a couple of sentences while the other one can see how many jumping jacks they can get in those 2 minutes, right? And switch it up. And I join in, hands up, I do some jumping jacks, and then get my exercise in too. Movement makes such a big difference, especially when it comes to getting kids to do something like reading. Add some activity into it.
I love those ideas. I'm going to head over to your house tomorrow afternoon so I can get some exercise in and a little bit of reading.
Come on over, Anne.
What else is coming in on the chat box?
Let's see. Lots of ideas on where to read anytime. Does anyone have any? Oh, here's a great question. Let's see here. What should I read only in English? Great question.
That is a good question. Jyoti, you want to talk about that?
Sure. So in my family, we have about 3, 4 languages. I say 3, 4 because I can speak 2 fluently and 1 I kind of can understand but can't really respond. So we have a good few languages in my family, and I would say read in any language, whatever language you're comfortable in your native language. It will always expand your child's vocabulary. So I would encourage that for sure.
I agree, and encourage confidence and inspire confidence in your children. Another question, what do we do if the kids don't like reading, Jyoti?
So one of the things that I found that works for us is making reading fun. How? I'm hearing some parents read my mind, like, how do we make it fun, right? So for us, find an interest that your child has. So if you've got a child that loves, I don't know, superheroes, which a lot of children do, I know mine certainly do, try and find some comic books or something that they can read. You could put on a cartoon or a superhero movie and try and have captions on so they get to read that as well. I have my 4th grader, who absolutely loves singing and dancing. So what we also do is that we'll bust out some moves, guys. We're going to sing some literature, get some books out and start singing and dancing. And we've even rapped, guys. We've even rapped, and it's been awesome. It keeps things different and keeps them entertained as well. For sure.
I love that. I love that. And that, of course, is leading to our next point. Read anything. There's print all around us. You can read your cereal boxes. When you go to a restaurant, while you're waiting for the food, read the menus. At the grocery store, you've got your child right there in the buggy right in front of you. Let them read the grocery list. On the way to the grocery store, read all the road signs. Social media feeds are great. And of course, magazines. Essentially, what we're trying to say is whatever you're reading, your child can help and learn along with you.
If I could just add to that, Anne, real quick. So parents out there, whose kids loves cookies and cakes? Let's put our hands up. Mine sure do. I've got all my fingers up, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
We like to bake. baking is a good one. So the kids are going to be invested because they're going to get something yummy at the end of it. Bring out a recipe, get them to read a few words from a recipe. It doesn't have to be the whole thing, just a few words or a couple of lines. And you're even bringing in some math into it too. How awesome is that?
Fractions. I mean, what a great way to introduce some math as well. Kimberly, what else are you seeing out there?
Here's a great question. What do I do if my child wants to read the same book over and over? Is that okay? Well, that's actually a question that really resonates with me. When my son was in kindergarten, that was our life, his whole year of kindergarten. He would find a book and he would want us to read it over and over. And we were visiting friends one weekend and he was reading his book over and over. And my friend that evening said, Kimberly, he's not reading. He memorized that book. And as a parent, I was like, oh, what? My child's not reading? He memorized the book? So when we got back, I reached out to his teacher, his kindergarten teacher, because, you know, they are the experts in this. And I asked her, what do I do? I was just told my son's memorized this book. And yes, he's been reading the same book for 2 weeks, but what do you think? And her answer made me feel so much better. She said, Kimberly, if he is holding a book and he is reading words, he is reading and building his confidence. So just let him continue. We want kids to enjoy reading. We want them to have a love of books. So thank you for that question. That really, when I read that, that really spoke to me personally.
I love that, Kimberly. And just to add to that real quick, so I have one too, you know, one of my boys, he does not, he loves to read the same thing over and over again. I've had my fair share of Peppa Pig books, I'm sure. And so for us, I mean, I'm always about mixing it up in my house, as some of you may know. So we use silly voices. I'll get him to read a couple of sentences in like I was going to do a deep voice for you, but I'm not going to do it. So he'll do a deep voice and then I'll bring it up a couple of notches and do a high pitched voice. And then we'll just do silly voices and bring some fun into it.
That's a great idea, Jyoti. I'm seeing other parents comment that they do. Their kids love rereading books. It's a great way to build vocabulary and confidence. So thank you for that. Thank you for that question. It seems like a lot of us experience the rereading of the same book.
Absolutely. And I think Jyoti, if she doesn't like working on the parent team, which I know she loves, but I think she's found another career and she could be a storybook reader, because I think we'd all bring her home and have her help us. I definitely think that would work for you, Jyoti.
Especially with her wonderful accent.
Okay, my secret job.
Yeah, exactly. Bottom line, you can read aloud anywhere. Keep a few books in your bag. Keep some in your car. Keep some in your bathroom. And by the way, if you have any final comments or questions to ask, now is a really good time to do that. Kimberly, talk more about the chat.
All right. Is it okay that my child only likes picture books? Is that okay?
I think so. I mean, picture books, that's how kids start to connect words, right? And know what object is what. Picture books for me are it's a great start for, especially for pre-K or even earlier than that. So if you have a book, say for example, and one of the pages shows like a tree, I mean, it's going to show more than just a tree, but you can always expand the word. So it's not just a tree. You can say it's a big tree, or it's a tree and it has apples, or it's a bright green tree and there's a gate. It's a wooden gate. So what I'm trying to say is expand the vocabulary, add some more words to it, and they'll be able to associate and connect the words. And that's what we really love to hear.
Definitely working on expanding those imaginations out there. Let's take a moment really quickly and go back to our goals for today. We wanted you to understand why it's important to read aloud to your child. We showed you some pretty incredible statistics. And of course, a new tip. We wanted you to just be able to take as many of those home as you can and just really boost up the reading aloud with your child. Jyoti, did we meet these goals tonight, do you think?
I think so, and I think we've exceeded them, but that's my personal opinion, guys. So we'll find out when we have the survey feedback, right? But you guys have had so many ideas, and I appreciate that so much. I mean, I like to talk, as you can probably tell, and I have some ideas, but you guys have just increased that massively. One of the takeaways I've had is that you can add reading into pretty much every single part of your day. I mean, even in the car, you can read signs of places to eat, or even road signs and street signs and anything. So for me, you can read anywhere and anything and anytime. And that's one of the biggest things. And break it down, people, break it down.
Absolutely. And it's just really important. It's not a matter of doing more. You are already doing it. It is just a change of mindset. We would like for you to walk away and just read aloud more intentionally. And with the tips from tonight, we know it's going to be easy for you. Before we let you go this evening, there is a very short 3-question survey that Kimberly uploaded into the chat.
Yes, it is there. I put it in there actually twice because, oh my gosh, I so appreciate all this excellent feedback. Again, we are going to print this out and share it with everybody. Parents, you have some absolutely fabulous, fabulous ideas that we want to make sure everybody is able to see. And there's some great questions that I was not able to get to. But like I said, we will get to all of this information, answer all your questions, and share all this valuable information with you. So back to the survey. It is 3 very simple questions. How did we do? What are your thoughts on it? What did you like? What would you like us to do maybe different next time? And what are you interested in next time? We have these sessions for you, and we want you to want to join these, to tell your friends about them. So please take that 60 seconds to answer those 3 quick questions. How did we do? How can we improve? And what would you like to see next?
Thanks, Kimberly. And I would also like everybody out there to share with us what you're doing. Take pictures and tag us at Parent Programs and post them on either Twitter or Facebook. We would love to see you and your beautiful children reading. Also, please keep your eye on our Parent Programs website for future sessions. We're putting together programming for families ranging, pre-K all the way up through the 8th grade, everything from early literacy to math and even building resilient kids in this age of the coronavirus. So in closing, thank you for being with us tonight. It has just been so energizing and amazing to have you all here. This session on the importance of reading aloud has just been really incredible for us as a parent team, and we hope you agree. And remember, you can read anything, anywhere, and anytime. Right, Kimberly?
That's right. That's right. Again, thank you for joining us. Be watching your inboxes, and have a great evening. Thank you.
Stay safe, everyone. Good night.
On behalf of the Parent Programs for the Round Rock Independent School District, I'm Ann Semmer, wishing you a very good evening and stay well.